My name is Victoria Hale, and the first thing you need to know about me is this. I destroyed my own life with a single sentence. It didn't sound dangerous, it didn't feel like a mistake, but if you listen closely, you'll hear the moment everything began to fall apart. I don't really have anyone. That's what I told Archie the day he leaned against my desk, smiling like the world had never hurt him. The office smelled of fresh paper and quiet ambition. I had chosen that place carefully. My father's company, yes, but far from the executive floors, far from the name Douglas that opened doors before I could even touch them. I wanted to earn something real. Or maybe I wanted to be loved without conditions. Archie didn't know who I was, and when he looked at me, there was no calculation in his eyes. "Coffee after work?" he asked, casual, easy. I hesitated, not because I didn't want to go, but because I knew once I stepped into his world, I would have to stay there. No assistants, no drivers, no last names, I whispered to myself. "What?" he asked, tilting his head. I forced a small smile. "Nothing. Coffee sounds nice." It started simply. Coffee turned into laughter. Laughter turned into late nights. Late nights turned into something I couldn't walk away from. And somewhere between his jokes and the way he remembered how I liked my tea, I forgot I was lying. "Tell me about your family," he asked one evening, his voice softer than usual. That was the moment. The moment I could have told the truth. The moment I could have stopped everything. I looked at him, at the warmth in his eyes, at the absence of greed, and I chose. "I don't really have anyone," I said quietly. "My parents are gone." The lie slid out too easily, too smoothly, too perfectly. His expression changed instantly, not suspicion, not doubt, but compassion. "I'm sorry," he said, reaching for my hand. And that was it. That was the hook that caught me. Because in that moment, he wasn't holding a billionaire's daughter. He was holding me. If I had known what that lie would cost me, if I had known how love can turn when truth is hidden, would I have said it differently? Or would I still choose the same beautiful, devastating mistake? Tell me honestly, what would you have done? 3 months later, Archie and I got married, and time has flown by so quickly since our wedding day. Half a year has gone by in the blink of an eye. If love were enough, I would have never noticed the moment it started breaking. But it did. Quietly, precisely, like a crack forming in glass. You don't hear it at first until everything shatters. The first dinner at Archie's family home felt like an exam I hadn't studied for. Crystal glasses, measured smiles, eyes that didn't blink enough. I carefully and politely placed the dessert that I had brought on the table. "Oh," his mother said, lifting a brow, "you made this yourself?" "Yes," I replied softly. She tasted it, paused, smiled. "It's simple." Simple. That word again. It followed me like a shadow. At first, I told myself it didn't matter. People need time. Families need adjustment. Love needs patience. But patience has a breaking point. "You didn't bring much into this marriage, did you?" his aunt said one evening, swirling her wine. The room laughed. Not loudly, not kindly, just enough to make it hurt. I smiled. Because that's what I had learned to do, smile even when my chest tightened so much I could barely breathe. Harrison didn't pretend. He never did. "You ruined my son's future," he said one night, standing too close, his voice cutting straight through me. "No status, no connections, no value." I froze. Not because I didn't have answers, but because I wasn't allowed to use them. I looked at Archie, waiting, hoping. "Say something," I whispered later when we were alone. He sighed, loosening his tie like I was the problem. "They're just traditional," he said. "Don't take it personally." "Not personally?" I laughed. It sounded wrong, hollow. "They call me useless, Archie. They don't mean it like that. How do they mean it then?" Silence. That silence was louder than any insult, because that was the moment I realized he wasn't on my side. Not really. Weeks passed, then months, and something inside me began to disappear, piece by piece, until one night he laughed at his father's joke about me. Actually laughed, and I felt it, that sharp, irreversible shift. "I'm trying," I told him once, my voice trembling despite myself, "to be enough." He looked at me, and for a second, I thought I saw something soften. But then he said it. "Maybe you're just not." That was the night I cried, not loudly, but silently, into a pillow that didn't feel like mine, in a house that never was. Tell me, how long would you stay where you're tolerated, but never loved? Our wedding anniversary has crept up on us before we knew it. If you've ever felt something was wrong but couldn't prove it, this was that moment for me, and I ignored it. The hall shimmered with gold light, laughter rising like nothing had ever been broken between us. 450 guests, smiles, music, perfection. For the first time in months, they were kind to me. Archie poured me a drink, his fingers brushed mine. "You look beautiful tonight," he said. My heart betrayed me. "Thank you," I whispered. For one dangerous second, I believed him. Then my father-in-law, Harrison, stood up, glass raised, smile sharp. The room quieted instantly. "This," he said, "is a very special night." Applause. Warm, polite, false. I felt it then, that shift in the air, like the ground beneath me was no longer steady. I looked at Archie. He wasn't looking at me. He was watching his father, waiting. "My son," Harrison continued, "made the biggest mistake of his life." A ripple of laughter. My fingers tightened around the glass. "And that mistake," he turned, pointed, at her. The room exhaled. Then came the whispers, the smirks, the eyes, all on me. "She has no family," he said calmly, "no background, no value." Each word landed slower than the last, like he wanted me to feel every single one. "Stop," I said, not loud, but clear. The room froze. "You don't get to speak about me like that." For the first time, I chose myself. And then, slap. The sound didn't echo, it exploded. My vision blurred, my cheek burned, but the pain wasn't what broke me. It was him. "I won't let you disrespect my father," he said, his voice cold, unfamiliar. I stared at him, searching, begging. "Where did you go?" "I'm done," he added. "I deserve better." Better. That word again, always that word. The laughter returned, louder now, crueler, because this wasn't spontaneous, this wasn't anger, this was planned. Every smile, every kind word tonight, a setup. And suddenly, I stopped feeling. No tears, no shaking, just clarity. I reached for my phone, dialed. One number. "Dad," my voice was steady now. "Please come." A pause. "I'm on my way." I lowered the phone slowly. Around me, the laughter continued, but inside, something had already ended. "Tell me, what would you do in that moment? Break or become someone they never saw coming. "Who are you calling?" Harrison sneered, raising his glass again. "I thought you had no one." More laughter, sharp, cutting, designed to finish what they had started. I didn't answer, because for the first time that night, I wasn't reacting. I was waiting. Minutes passed, music returned, conversations resumed, people moved on as if humiliation were just another form of entertainment. But I stayed exactly where I was, still, silent, watching. Then, the doors opened. It wasn't loud, it wasn't pompous, but it changed everything. The air shifted first, conversations thinned, smiles faded. Power doesn't announce itself, it arrives and is recognized. He walked in calmly. My father, Douglas Hale. His eyes found me instantly, and when they did, they stopped on my cheek. The mark, the proof. "Dad," I said, softly, but in that silence, it echoed. Archie stepped back like he'd seen a ghost. "No, that's not—" "It is," someone whispered behind him. Recognition spread like fire. "The owner, that's him." Harrison's smile faltered, just slightly. "Sir, there must be some misunderstanding." "Stop." One word, and the room obeyed. My father didn't even look at him. His gaze was still on me. "Who did this?" he asked quietly. That quiet was more terrifying than any shout. No one spoke, not even Archie. Finally, my father turned, slowly, deliberately. "And the company you're so proud of," he said, voice cold, "is in her name." Silence. Heavy, crushing. Archie's face drained of color. "She never told me," he said. "She wanted you to choose her, not her money." That was the moment, the exact moment their world collapsed. "I didn't know," Archie said quickly, stepping toward me. "Victoria, please." I raised my hand. He stopped. "Tomorrow," my father continued, "your resignation will be on my desk." A pause. "And the divorce papers will follow." Something inside my chest tightened, not from pain, from clarity. Because now they saw me, finally, completely, and it changed nothing. Tell me, is the truth powerful because of what it reveals, or because of what it destroys? There's a moment, right after everything breaks, when you decide who you're going to be next. This was mine. "I gave you a year." My voice didn't tremble. That surprised me even. A whole year to see me, to choose me. Silence swallowed the room. Archie stepped closer, his hands shaking. "Victoria, please. I was wrong. I didn't know." "That's the problem. You didn't try to know." Harrison opened his mouth, but one look from my father silenced him. For the first time, they weren't powerful. They were afraid. "I loved you," Archie said, his voice breaking. "That has to count for something." I looked at him, really looked, and finally saw the truth I had been avoiding. "No," I said softly. "You loved only yourself and your family." I picked up my bag, a simple motion, but it felt like tearing myself out of a life that had been suffocating me piece by piece. "You didn't lose me tonight," I added, pausing at the door. Every eye followed me. "You lost the only person who ever chose you without conditions." No one laughed this time. No one moved, because they understood this wasn't a scene. This was an ending. I walked out, not fast, not slow, free. And just before the doors closed behind me, I heard it. Archie's voice, barely holding together. "Victoria, please don't go." I didn't turn around, because some doors, once closed, should never be opened again. But tell me, if you were me, would you have walked away or stayed for one more chance?
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.